Is that ending implying what I think it's implying? I love how I watched this entire episode, and I love the episode. I love the art style, I love the characters and everything like that. But the thing that I want to talk about the most, right when I start recording, is legit what happened at the end there. What? I'm trying to figure out if that's a artistic choice, a sound design choice, or if they're implying legit X sends Nice off to his death. Question mark. Because again, what we're implying here is that Nice, having possibly been infected, it could be that he's just thinking that he's infected, because it's not like he's morphing or everything like that. It did look like his eyes changed briefly, but it's not like he's running around with like smoke hanging off of him and losing his mind. He could have possibly fought it off, but he's afraid of the fear. And at the same time, he's losing to a dog, and Shang's looking at him, who, again, Shang has basically groomed him into being this thing, this tool for him. He's not living up to his expectations. He won't help him out. He's losing everything. He's losing his mind. And as he's building up in that, and he's literally going crazy, snap. And he's on top of that building. And he doesn't remember who he is. He doesn't know why he's there. Question mark. Is the insanity literally making him lose, like, memories? Or did possibly X relocate him up there, bent reality, sent him up there, wiped his memory clean, doesn't even know who he is and where he's at, and then that's the point which Nice possibly regained a little bit of it and realized how horrible of a person he's become, and he jumps. I don't know. The fact that he says, I don't know who I am, why I'm there, that's the big massive question mark. But again, the snapped finger noise. Again, I could chop it up as he goes crazy and at some point he regains consciousness when he's up there. And then the choice of the directors and whatnot is to make that sound effect because the art style changed. The art style always seems to change based on X doing that snap most of the time. Most of the time. I mean, again, we had the whole Nice segment, or the first arc. Whenever the art style changed, it never had that sound effect. It was just usually whenever something really crazy happened, suddenly it goes to the art style, whatever. But I'm kind of wondering if possibly X knew, or at least Nice went crazy when he's there. He starts going around doing a rampage, and at some point X finds him and snaps him over to that location and wipes his memory, and then at that point Nice jumps. Not that X specifically attacked him, but possibly at some point relocated him, wiped his memories to stop him, but then Nice chose to do that. Because now that he's regained consciousness, he realizes what he's done, and he's tired. It's done. I'll never amount to anything. I'm always going to be below a dog. Something like that. Not that X forces him to do that, but that X was a part of that whole process. Either way, yeah, this pretty much, again, cements what we've been building up for a long time. This seems to be probably the last that we'll see of Nice's story. This seems like the complete finished part of it, and that it kind of went from that point of, again, everything that happened with Smile, which obviously affected him a lot, and him just becoming a henchman for Shang, which he's always been. But it seems like he's become even more heartless. He's just a failure at this point. He failed with Smile. He failed with everything before then. And now Shang's just having him do just menial tasks. He's just turned him into a random thug that goes around with little fear henchmen, basically stealing people's properties, strong-arming people, doing ads every now and then with Miss J. And then at the same time, he's literally dirtying his hands even more so than ever before. Again, it all culminates to this element of losing his entire mind. Again, going into episode 1. But anyways, that aside, Nice aside, we can finally put that one to rest, I think, at this point. But let's go in the episode proper. I actually really did like this episode. I love the art style. We did see a bit of this in certain shots, I think in the OP, where it does show this Ahu just kind of running around and it having this very kind of older style. I didn't think it was going to be something more modern like this. I really thought they were going to lean in on a very older aesthetic, like maybe an 80s or a 90s style aesthetic for Ahu's segment. But no, it's more like a, I don't know, I guess its easiest example here recently is panty and stocking. It's a very panty and stocking look to it, but a little bit different. Very much so like a Western panty and stocking kind of look to it that I really liked. I love the aesthetic of it. I love the character designs. Besides Shang. Shang looked weird. Shang had way too tall. I mean, he does have a very thin head, but it's like he looked off. Everybody else looked good. I think even Nice looked good in that style, but it was a cool little art style. I loved it. It just had a great aesthetic to it. Very pleasing to the eye. Very fun character designs and whatnot within it. But yes, the actual story, we opened up with Ahu, and he's at a circus. And apparently there, as the kids love him and his performances, he just becomes like a clown. Even though it seems like apparently his master train him to be like a tiger because he wanted to live the idea of being a tiger trainer or whatever. But yeah, it kind of builds up in this idea of, yes, he hates the fact that all these kids are clamoring over him and pulling at him and everything. He hates the kids, but he's feeling that he's getting stronger. He's not quite sure why, but he's getting stronger until eventually he bites one of the kids. Gets sent off the pound. Now it's interesting because they do imply the idea that they were just trying to treat him so they can, I guess, give him off to somebody, but he won't let them touch him, so they're going to have to put him down. And that's when we have the appearance of Shinya. Which we find out later, which was the assumption. She knew immediately who he was, ran in there. It's Ahu. All right, cool, you're going to be part of the family. This girl knew him from the circus, immediately adopts him. He's become part of the, what was it called? The Residents Support Association. But I love this whole thing because, yes, it's her going back to her little neighborhood, and apparently this neighborhood's very tight-knit. It seems like it's mostly just elderly, but yes, it's within this area that the Treeman Corporation apparently has been trying to develop it up, resell it and whatnot. And yes, they've apparently been fighting off these henchmen that are coming to have them sign contracts. So she wants to build him up to be stronger. But on the way home, we end up running into, immediately knew who it was, immediately run to X. Apparently X trying to just get a drink before he heads home. I don't know, it really does imply to me right here, because again, this is presumably post-Smile. And it does seem like X right here is taking a lot of interest in this neighborhood, which again, it's implying that this neighborhood is actively being kind of stalked by the Treeman Corporation. They're sitting there henchmen in there regularly. They have problems there. So I'm thinking that possibly X is in that location, just kind of help them out, because eventually when things do go down, it does seem like he gets actively involved in helping out Ahu and fighting off these nasty henchmen. Maybe he was possibly looking into these henchmen to take them down or whatever, but yeah, runs into him. Ends up going back to their place. On the way there, they end up running into a billboard for Nice, which was the one that we kind of seen in the very first episode, which is the one where Nice is up there talking about, real estate and having a family and everything like that. But then it points out that, yes, Shinya's like, yeah, somebody like him, he's so busy, they'd never help us out. I think they've implied this a couple times. The idea that, again, because these heroes are so corporatized, they're only focused on what will get them attention, what's going to get the most eyeballs. Most of these heroes are not really heroes. They're just lackeys for a corporation. So going around and helping a random old lady cross the street, they don't care anymore. Unless there's cameras on them, unless somebody can see them, they want the most eyeballs on them. A random neighborhood, they don't care about. That's why she wants to build up Ahu to be that next hero to take care of that neighborhood. It's a really little sweet story there. Again, going to her home, the home base, seeing how rundown it is, all the dyes and whatnot in there, apparently just to draw stuff, but going through the whole montage of trying to get him trust value, trying to get people to support him and whatnot. The visual effects that she does for the park. AI could do better than this. You're trying to scam people for trust value. Oh, man. And then, yeah, eventually the thugs showing up and him fighting them off and everybody liking it, but that leads to Treeman Corporation sending a hero. Now, the old lady says specifically, we normally would turn them away, and we have a week until we have to sign the contracts, but they sent a hero this time. And implying here that because a hero was present, they decided to sign away their contracts. Like, normally, most of these people are not going to sign up this stuff because that's their homes. They don't want to sign them off to somebody. But because a hero was sent, a lot of people signed them. But I can't understand this stuff, so I didn't sign anything. Implying the idea that these individuals are targeting them because they're elderly. They don't understand the contracts. They're going to sign them no matter what, especially when a hero's there, which I would assume is probably Nice. Probably Nice showed up there, and they see Nice and go, oh, we can trust Nice. Nice wouldn't lie to us. Sure, where's the contract? Let me sign it. That's the best thing we can do, right? It's kind of scummy. It is definitely scummy. But yeah, she contacts FOMO. Well, no, she gets on her phone and she's like, hi, FOMO, I got a scoop for you. Hang up. Like, what is that phone call? Like, okay, thanks, I guess. Click. But anyways, yes, they go to the hangout for these thugs and they go in there to take their stuff back. I love how she sneaks in there, has him like distract the guy before she goes over and grabs the stuff, but end up stepping on something anyways. But yes, while they're in there, immediately when the phone call comes in for the guy, I was like, that sounds like Nice. Is it Nice? Is Nice working with these guys? It makes sense because, again, Treeman Corporation, I would assume the guy they're talking about is Nice. But specifically he says, don't kill anybody. Like, he has to tell these henchmen, which we find out these henchmen are embodiments of fear. What they implied before was that they have to have a body and they infuse that body with fear. Like I said, they technically have what I would assume is the old Isol's body in one of those chambers. I'm just waiting for him to let that out. But I kind of got a sense that these were actually moving on their own. But either way, it seems like Nice is trying to keep them in check, or at least they do have some sort of sentience to them, but they are very aggressive. But yes, they end up running away, running around, fighting him off. Eventually, she distracts him as he can get away. Doesn't like it, but eventually he gets cornered by a bunch of them. They beat the crap out of him. She falls off the building. It was so funny because in the episode, I'm like, wait, why is she in a hospital? Oh yeah, I totally forgot that she fell from like 3 stories high. I completely forgot about that whole falling part. Eventually, again, he gets cornered by some dudes. They beat the crap out of him, send him out. They got to beat the crap out of him with a stick, and then suddenly snap happens. I'm like, oh yes, X is showing up again. I think that he's literally staying in this neighborhood and trying to help people out in the shadows. I wouldn't doubt he's basically become like a Batman. Like every night he's just going around checking out the neighborhoods, and if anybody's in trouble, just snapping them out of existence or snapping them into objects. Literally snap the dude into a board. But yeah, eventually gets chased by some other ones, runs into X. He's like, hey, dude, you gotta get out of here, and then suddenly snap. I hate that it didn't want to show any of it. That was a really annoying part of it, but the whole idea there was to kind of see how Ahu himself is seeing this as a magical performance. Because yeah, he snapped the first time, they disappear, and then suddenly they're on the wall. I love that. I don't know, it's like with the whole situation with Dragon Boy, and now the board, and then the wall, it really does make me believe that X's whole thing is, yes, bending reality, but I think it really comes down to simply, he transforms things into art. He transforms people into object as art, or transports people into objects themselves. So it does seem like every single time he's using it here, and again, with Dragon Boy, it's always transfer person to object, or transfer it out. And so right there, he's literally transferring them into the wall and dancing around them and then transferring back out. It's very interesting, very interesting. I've always just seen him as just bending reality. Whatever he wants to have happen, happens. Which does make me question what he did to Queen. Because he snapped his finger, then Queen looks up and she's on the ground. So I guess the assumption there is that he just snaps and puts her into the ground or something like that, and then snaps and she's suddenly on the ground. I can see that. Okay, I did find out there's an entire concept movie that shows what X does to all those thugs that are attacking Ahu. But I still think that it should have been in the actual episode. Having him just sit there and it's a perspective on Ahu's face as all that crazy stuff happened, which in that concept video is incredible, by the way. And it does solidify my thoughts around his power that he can literally put people into objects and take them back out of objects. But it also implies the idea that he's able to bring objects out of stuff as well, because he literally manifests a sword and then attacks all the dudes with it. But like that whole segment should have been in the episode. It was absolutely incredible. It's a really cool little bit there. It's just called Tu Bian X concept movie long version, Aniplex new project. So I'm guessing it's just a trailer they made for it. But anyways, it was super cool and I love it. And it just makes out X to be like more and more OP as it goes along. He's insane, dude. But yeah, he eventually ends up finding Xinya, and she's in trouble, and tries to call out for the X guy to show up because, hey, that mysterious guy, please, I need your help. But then Nice shows up. Nice shows up, and it's like, oh, yay, we're going to get help. And I'm like, nope. The moment that Nice showed up, I'm like, no. I don't know. There was a side of me that thought, okay, maybe he shows up and says, hey, dudes, I told you don't kill anybody. Hey, give back the deeds, get the hell out of here. Something like that. Give me some kind of at least subtlety that Nice is an okay guy still. Nope. He's like, I'd love to help you, but I need those things back. They're very important. Again, from Nice's perspective right now, everything is results. If I don't get results, Shang is going to disconnect me. And all he thinks of is fulfilling what Shang wants. He has become such a puppet to Shang that he has no self-worth anymore. He has no self-value anymore. It sucks. Again, everything that we've seen with that scene of Shang walking up to Nice when he was trying to smile for the cameras. Literally, you are a puppet. I didn't raise you to smile. You're not a hero. You're for my revenge. And the entire time, Nice is afraid of him. He's terrified of him. Ugh. Anyways, yeah, he's a dirtbag now. Either way, he's a dirtbag now. But yeah, just kind of steps to the side, lets the guy go at him. And I love this whole thing here because it does show sort of Ahu realizing that what he wants to become. Whereas before I was always a clown. Right now I'm a clown. I could never protect anybody. She brought me in to be a hero. I'm not a hero. I'm just a clown. But then at some point realizing, oh yeah, at some point I started believing her. At some point during that process, of her trying to get my trust value up and us fighting off some dudes at the barricade, at some point I realized I want to be a hero for her because she looks at me like that. And it was the same like way back there when they show that little flashback of her being there and she's with her father and she's like, who's the most strongest? Well, what do you think? Well, definitely him because, yeah, he gets strong and he's super strong and everything. He'd do anything. And he's like, yeah, if you believe in them, they'll always have that strength. So he gets that number 1, which is interesting because I thought that she would have trust value in him already. But apparently he got his number 1 there. But I don't know, that's the interesting thing because when the episode opened up, he said that the more the kids loved me, the stronger I got. So you'd assume back when he was at the circus, he was already getting trust value. Because this is the oddity. This entire episode is the oddity. That a animal can get trust value. I don't believe they've ever shown a single animal throughout the entire series so far. It's always been humans. Now, you might be able to make a conclusion that little Johnny might have trust value, but I don't think so. They've never indicated that he has a value. It's always the idea that he's just an alien, he's super powerful. So I do kind of wonder if the possibility, if this is literally the first animal. They do imply that towards the later part when the news broadcasts are happening and they have comments saying, wow, an animal can have trust value. You know, your pet and your house that protects you. Sure enough, that can have, be a hero. Sure enough. But anyways, I would assume that at the very beginning he was getting trust value, but it implies here, this is where he finally overcomes that and gains a number 1, which will be the point where he finally does become strong, become a hero. And he's able to fight back. I can see it both ways. I can definitely see it being that this is the first point where he truly does become a hero. Before he just, had the admiration, he was doing better. I don't know. Anyways, fights the guy off and the fear drops onto Nice, makes him freak out. I don't want to die. I don't want to become one of those things, just completely freaks out. His eyes were even changing a lot too, which does again imply to me that he did actually have fear in him. He may have fought it off or something like that, but ends up running away because the FOMO drone showed up. And yeah. That cuts to, again, the whole montage, everybody praising him for apparently taking down the Black Suit organization, which I don't know. I guess that would be like a secret organization of Treeman. I would assume that everybody was being happy about the fact that he took down the Black Suits, that the Black Suits were working in secrecy for the Treeman Corporation. Yes, he accepts the full credit for it, stealing all the credit from X. I mean, he technically doesn't know who X is, possibly. I mean, he could have possibly known. I guess, yes, because he did see X's true form. He saw the white hair and everything like that. He knows who X is because X is number 1, obviously. But yeah, becomes the civilian hero Ahu and becomes number 8. Becomes number 8. Ends up going to the hospital. We get to see that she's recovering and yeah, he can now talk. I did kind of notice that when he was at the press conference. I'm like, wait. Oh, he can talk now? And yeah, sure enough, when he gets back to the hospital, she's like, wait, you can talk now? I'm like, yeah, that's what I was thinking too. It could be an element that as his trust value went up, people wanted him to talk. And thus he got the ability to talk. It could be that simple. Could it be that simple? It could be that simple. Yeah, then we get the little scene with Nice getting manipulated by Shang, telling him that he's trash and worthless. He's not going to help him. Again, that's a dirtbag. Shang is irredeemable at this point. And then it cuts over to him be on top of the building. Again, very cool episode. Really did like the art style. Love the characters. I thought that Shin Yan was a fun little runt that's just trying to do good in a really bad situation, just trying to help her neighborhood. And Ahu and the rise of the hero dog. Very quick story. I'm kind of curious if it will end up being just a single episode. He reached 8. And again, we're at episode 1 point, so I don't know what else you can really do with his story. Very quick little episode for his story, which does beg the question of what we're going to do for the final episode. Again, we've technically introduced all the characters. I guess we can probably do like one quick bout between the characters post episode 1 storyline wise. I don't know. My hope for the next episode for the finale would be to finally have a wrap up of Moon and Lin Ling, because that's the only thing that's left undone. The only like critical storyline that they have brought up so far that they have not completed that needs an answer right now would be what happens in Lin Ling after Moon is shot by Isol. That scene needs to be resolved. The only other big thread that we have left right now is, yes, Rock trying to make a new Zero. But that's not critical. And that's probably going to take more time. I'm assuming that's probably second season stuff. Probably the buildup of trying to make the next Zero. The only real critical storyline that we need an answer for is what happened with Moon. Isol being there means that Rock is involved, which yes, Rock could be wanting to be involved just for the sake of trying to take down Treeman Corporation. That's sort of what I've liked about a lot of these backstory stories, is really getting a full sense of not just each of the characters, which is great, introducing all these characters, the top 10 basically, but more so to understand the corporations, because in the end, who's pulling all the strings to all these heroes? The heroes, in a lot of cases for this story, seems like so far, don't really have a lot of like their own choice. They're doing what the organization wants them to do. But that's my hope, again, for next episode, is to finally answer, is Moon really dead? The question I've had since like episode 4, which at this point is almost 6 months away, is Moon really dead this time? Question mark. Besides that, I would really like to see what X is currently doing. I think a final episode to get what X is really doing, and yes, if he's possibly involved with Lin Ling and his involvement with Moon that I had theorized a long time ago, that would be good as well. See what X's current mindset is at. If, like I'm theorizing, he's trying to take down the commission, because I think he wants to. I think he wants to take down the commission. I think he wants to take out the trust value overall. Anyways, we'll see. Anyways, that's my thoughts on episode 23 of Tu Bian Hero X. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, hit the like button down below if you like this content and you want to support channel more. Become a member of the channel. I'll be here next week for the finale. Y'all take care.